we go. Here we go. My goodness. Couple updates. Got some nice fancy seats in here. Nice blue belts. Look at that. And then we got some suspension upgrades here finally. Brand new DCs. Man, I wish I had a couple sets of these to install on some cars. You know? What got in the box here? Oh, look, they give you instructions. Cool. Check that out. All right. This is today's, yeah. So, really quick. Kind of a couple key things. He did some research to try to figure out so you know if one's a fake or not, or an original, because there's so many different ones online and different prices. So what'd you figure out here?
Well, I gotta find the one. I think it's in the box.
Okay. Well, black edition. This thing's gonna look pretty good. I know that some of the chrome ones actually will, you know, change color over time. I've seen a couple of the black ones. They seem to stay pretty nice looking over time.
There's something else, but pretty much those have to.
Okay. So like, it's kind of hard to tell through the bag, but these will actually be imprinted with HKS. It's actually right here. And he said the bottom of the box will be white. Was there anything that was...
The fins. I don't fucking remember all that.
Something with the fins?
There's supposed to be 4 fins. Knockoffs have 1 fin.
Oh, off the top here.
Yeah.
4 on the top. Yeah, I mean, I've had a bunch of these and used and sold them over the years, and everybody's like, is it a fake or not? I have no clue. I mean, I just never... If they worked, they worked. Now, I also said something about there's, in the packing, it'll have a number here and a number here. But regardless there, we actually have an adapter here that we're going to be using. We just kind of stuck with it because the piping that we have for this intercooler has the Greddy style flange, and this is like a cheaper Greddy style valve. And when we smoke tested it, we noticed that stuff was off. Here you go. There's actually a number in there with the paper. When he pulled it out, I think he left it sit on his table at his house. So
It'll match the blow off valve number.
You got a match number there. Now, like I said, this was leaking when we smoke tested it, even with no, you know what I mean? That thing, the smoke test doesn't make any pressure, and there's no reason smoke should have been pouring out of here. So we are going to be replacing that along with getting the BC coilovers on here today. So here's everything here. We're going to try to adjust this ride height. It's probably going to be something similar to mine, to the fenders. So we got a little bit of work ahead of us. We got some other bushings that we're going to replace. The end links and the front sway bar bushings were out on this. So we're basically going to pull all 4 tires. We're going to work on getting this stuff off because this thing has coilovers on the front, and then it has struts on the rear, I think, with some lowering springs. So we're going to get everything removed. This thing just rides terrible. You can tell that the struts are 17, 18, 19-year-old struts, and they are just gone. So just walking around showing this thing off a little bit more. So we're going to get everything tore down on here. Right now, today's plan is coilovers, blow-off valve, get the suspension adjusted to where it needed to be, replace a couple bushings, and give this thing another boost test because we got to run another data log on this thing to get a little bit more boost out of it. As we had suspected when we smoke tested this the other day. Everything looks good. It did have a good seal where it was down in here, but if you look down in here, you can see the O-ring seal that is supposed to be down inside there is actually up in. I'm gonna try to push this and then we'll get this light on here. If you can push this in, you can see where it's supposed to go, right on that lip down at the bottom. That's where the seal is supposed to go. So without a seal, that's where all our boost was going. And I mean, don't get me wrong, this big thing was making 14 pounds of boost with a boost leak, And it actually, when this thing did blow off, it was like really high pitched and stuff. So I mean, maybe that's a tall tale sign that the seal was off of there. So I mean, unfortunately, like I said, with this pipe, we have to use this adapter. When you install these, there's an O-ring that you put down in there. This has the real nice snap ring that comes with these. Like I think the generic ones probably have the smaller ones, or maybe it's with the pipes, but I'm not quite sure. But we're going to get this one sealed. It's going to sit in here something like this. And then, like I said, we're going to smoke test this thing quick again and see if we have any other leaks. But I really believe that this is going to solve our problem right here. Back here, we got one of the struts off. I kind of did that because we were going to be staying with the same ride height. So basically, you know, I set it next to it, kind of eye myself up with what I need. So I got it close. You want to make sure that you set both coils the same way. So you want to measure from the same place. So I'm hooking here on the top and coming down here. So I have 12 1/8, and now I just got the other one done. So we're at 12 1/8 here. Now, based on where we live in the northeast, weather, you know what I mean, moisture, someplace like that, you do get rust. I mean, these coils do last a long time, but putting this stuff on here ensures that there's going to be adjustability years and years and years down the road. So I'm just kind of putting a light coating on and I'm wiping it off just underneath here, especially on these lowers, because in case you want to change ride height. The springs were all pretty much preset, so we're going to let them there to see how they are, you know, because we end up needing a little bit more compression here to put a little bit more on that. We'll have to tighten that up, and it might change our ride heights, so then we'll have to change that too. But everything is so easily adjustable with these. I've already had this bottom plate off so that I have anti-seize underneath here, so I'm just going to put some on this one, and then I'll rotate down this locking ring for this lower. And both of these will be set at the same ride height. So we'll go up here, we'll get one side done, and then we'll show you what it takes to get the other side on so that you can see what the difference is. Your fronts are both the same, so it doesn't matter which side they go on. Your rears are the only ones that are right rear and left rear because of the location of where the strut, not the strut, the sway bar end links mount on them. We're over here, we're taking this side off. We're going to cut both of the zip ties that are holding our ABS sensor on so that we don't want to put extra tension on that. All right, now we're going to remove the two lower strut bolts here. Okay, now these are locked in because they're kind of, I'll show you when we get one out. Okay, they're splined on the ends here, so you have to give them a little tap. That's so they hold themselves in place. Push up on that a little bit. There you go. All right, you're loose. Now we're going to go up on the top. These have 13 mil bolts, nuts on, so we're going to remove these 3 nuts. We're on our last one. We're going to hold on to the coilover. If you lift up a little bit, you should be able to spin it off by hand. Alright, and we're going to come down here. The last one kind of came out this way here, toward this way. Around, right, I just took it down through the brake line, which is something we can do with the aftermarket brake hose that we have on here. So there we go. We have the left front coil, old, unmatching coil to anything else, off of the car. So we're going to go grab the BC and we're going to show it, put it back on the exact same way. Alright, so we're ready to put this one in. You try not to touch your anti-seize there. When you stick this up in, it'll go up from the bottom in between here, and this one comes towards you, and that's how they go up in. Okay? Yep. You didn't want that one, did you?
No.
That's all right. 2 nuts will hold it. All right, now we got that tight. We're gonna come down. Now don't be afraid of the direction that this is pointed because it will actually pivot up there. It's supposed to, because when you turn. So all you gotta do is grab a hold of that, spin this around at the bottom. Pull out on this a little bit. Get it straight. All right, now slide this over. Get it lined up. Yep, there you go. You might have to push up on this a little bit and wiggle it around. Some go in easy, some don't. You can always give it a little tap. Good, perfect. You don't have to set it all the way. You got that one? And it looks like you're going to have to pull out a little bit. I have to push in some now. I went too far. There you go. Now all you got to do is stick the nuts on. I think he's pressured because he's on camera. There's the wrench, dude. All right, there we go. Everything's nice and tight. We're going to grab some new zip ties and get these located back into here. Normally on a car, there's actually a little bracket that bolts here that will hold this, and your factory brake hoses will have another bracket that will hold this also. But with this, we don't have them because it didn't come with the car. So we're just going to zip tie this thing in here like that. And start is your end links. All right. These ones were obviously replaced at one time. They are not in the best shape, as you can see up here. So they're actually a 14. Your factory ones will be 13 if you're using factory ones. They're still in your car somehow, amazingly. I don't know. All right, so we're gonna get this one on here, hold it. All right, so that removed that. That's all right. Sockets like to roll. So basically what you need to do is you need to remove this because it goes through the actual strut. Then what I'm going to do is I like to pull these off, and then I lay them up on the other side out of the way, because these lower bolts here aren't exactly fun to get off most of the time. You're also going to have to undo this. This actually still has, since it has the struts on the rear, which makes no sense with coils on the front. This bracket's here for our ABS cable, so we're actually able to transfer that over, but there's no snaps on the line because it is an aftermarket hose now. So pull this strut over here on this side. We do have both the end links are still off, so we're going to undo these lower nuts. It's an 18 on one side, a 15 on the other. So we're going to hold those, and then there's bolts, 3 bolts at the top, just like there was in the front. You can pull out the cable here. I always remove my brake caliper here on this side. Makes it a little bit easier to get in here. So we can get in here. We take an 18. It's a little tough with the sensor in the way. All right, on. All right, that's how you get it. Right here. Okay, we've got both of those now. You want to hold a hammer like this. These are usually always set in here pretty good. I mean, they had to be out at one time to replace those springs, but you don't want to mess up the nuts or your fingers, which is really easy to do. They're ready to come out. They're always a little tough. Power tool now. It's just easier to do it like that. And I just, you know, kind of, you can tap on these. I wouldn't tap on your PCs, obviously, but it's gonna be gentle. So that's broke loose there. We need a 13. You can come up in here on the top. Pull this back. You'll see your three bolts up in here. We're gonna remove these 3, and it's kind of like the same as when you were down front. So that will go toward the inside. Where you got the nuts at, man? Up top here? Nope.
What?
The nuts. I need the nuts. I need some nuts. All right, he's busy down there pushing that up through. I'm trying to move this back out of the way. Oh, you were so close. You don't have to pick up the whole car. Just a coil over. There you go. Your back one there. Stop. Don't move. Stay right there. Get these started. And then if you can reach up and push on that plate like you did on the other one. There you go. Okay, so there's the top. I'm going to work on getting these tightened down the rest of the way, and then we'll go down to the bottom and we'll show you how we get that lined up. All right, so now we got the coilovers in place, but these are always kind of fun to get lined up down here. So we got to push in on this, pull out on this, and when this drops down, it actually pushes this angle back this way, and this stays where it stays straight up and down. So you have to bring this up and then push in on the top and the out. Sometimes I'll actually put a jack down here on the outer part of this when I get it to a certain location, and when you jack it, it'll actually tilt it in and help get it lined up. The prize is, here's the part number, rear sway bar end lengths. This is what we're taking off. We're actually putting the shorter ones on the rear, so that'll help since we're lowered, and it'll actually put the sway bar at a better geometry, I guess is what they say. So to set these up, you need to put one of those. These, you can see, have 2 different sides. Smooth side like that always goes towards that, and then it'll get one like that, one like that, and one of these, and one of those, and one of these, and one of those, and that. So the trick is to try to do both sides at the same time. You put one in, then you kind of leave it loose. And I'm gonna go get this in. It's kind of a 2-hand job, so I'll show you. Little drops there, butterfingers.
He just never sees on camera.
Yeah, that's it. It's all the never sees all over my hand from touching the coilovers. Basically, you want to set it up like that. That one's just started, so I'm going to go over and put the other one on, and then when they're both on, I tighten them down till they just start compressing the bushings. You'll be able to look at that and see that. And basically what the sway bar does is it's your spring from side to side on the car, so it actually helps level the car, helps hold the car level when you're going around a corner, so you don't have body roll. So that's basically what that does. This is actually an aftermarket sway bar on here right now. I'm not sure of the name or brand of it, so that's the best thing I can tell you. I got Hotchkiss on mine, and those you can tell because they have a different end and they actually use a different style end length. So all right, you see me unbolting the old one. We now have the new one in. Besides that, I did replace these bushings here. They were the 24mm on both sides. We got them nice and greased up. End lengths, beautiful on both sides. So I'm going to show you what some of the stuff looked like that we actually pulled out, because that one was missing a bushing, and the actual bushings for the sway bar that were on the suspension were quite destroyed. Okay, whew. Here we go. This is what came off. man, what do you do with that bushing? Or this one? Or that? It was just a little bent. And we're totally missing one of these that was on this one side. So, I mean, we have everything here. And, yeah. This thing's getting ready to go for, it's actually scheduled for an alignment here in the next day. So once we figure out the rest of the stuff with the ride height, we're at the point where we're going to throw the wheels on. We're going to set this thing down, get our suspension settled. We're going to do a measurement on all 4 corners, see how the tires fit. If we need to come up or drop anywhere, we can do those measurements, and we're going to put this thing right back up and get that stuff adjusted, because like I said, if it's going in for an alignment, we want all that right. The blow-off valve is installed. Doesn't that thing look good down in there? A whole lot better than the leaking purple mess. So I'm sure, you know, with some actual boost, that just didn't take it. I think we finally got this thing finished up here today. Gonna head out for a test drive, do a couple hits, see if we're building boost, see if that fixed up our boost leak. We ran the little filter in line. Everything seems to be pretty decent. Ride height is, like I said, pretty good, pretty nice. Hopefully everything comes into spec when we do the alignment. Who knows? Maybe it'll go lower. I personally love this ride height right now. So, just everything come together so nice with this car. Got lucky on some seats, the nice blue belts that match. I mean, it's just very impressive. There's still a couple more things that we got to do for this. We're waiting for some dress-up goodies to finally show up. It's been quite a while on them. We got strut bars that we're waiting to get powder coated, which you kind of probably seen in one of the other videos, but we had a problem. We weren't able to put them on. We have the rear MPX diffuser yet to install. And right now, you know, do a couple more data logs and turn the boost up, since we got the boost leak fixed. Yeah, it's definitely going to ride a lot better now. So, man, tell you what, BCs do make the car.